What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with another WWE Week in Review, recapping Raw, NXT, Smackdown. Obviously, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, social media down there, all that other stuff. There's been a lot going on in the world of WWE. As I've said, I am not a journalist, so I'm not going to get too much into it unless it directly affects the product on television. Obviously, there's been some releases. There have been some obvious stories about the lack of testing for WWE, both in-ring and out-of-ring staff. People have tested positive for the virus that has been, afflicting the country and the whole globe, actually. And, how things have been rewritten because of it, especially on Smackdown, as a lot of these things came right after the tapings for Raw and NXT. So we'll get into it. We'll talk about it, and so that's pretty much my preamble for this one. So we're going to start off, as always, with Raw. So we get a kind of a new intro. They called it Championship Monday. Obviously, I have a lot of thoughts because of the fact that they hyped it as Championship Monday, and based on the matches. I'll get to them, but you'll see what I'm saying. So we start out. Drew McIntyre comes out, talks about last week. He's looking to the future. Dolph's music hits. Drew looks surprised to see him. Dolph says he's been there. He's there because of the trade for AJ Styles. So apparently that trade that we found out, and it's not only him, it's also Bobby Roode, which I'm going to call him Bobby Roode because I like that better. So apparently it's Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler for AJ Styles. That is the full trade that we end up getting, which I think is fine. I think that's an even enough trade. Dolph and Roode, as a tag team, have been tag champs. Each one of them has held singles gold. Dolph has been the WWE champion, I believe it was, or the world champion. So that's fine. Just Dolph in general, this is exactly how he set himself up once he came back for Kofi. Came back, kind of started in with the champion, got a title shot. Didn't have to win anything, didn't have to do anything, just got a title shot. And I don't like how they're cheapening Drew's run. I feel like there should be people that are working toward getting to Drew instead of just basically being handed title shots. So there's that. So Drew owes Dolph because Dolph brought him back to WWE. Everything he's earned is because of Dolph. Wants what he's owed, and he says just a title match at Extreme Rules. Doesn't say that he's owed the title, just wants a match. Drew said without him to watch his back, Dolph hasn't done very well, which is sort of true. I mean, obviously he's just become basically a henchman. He was a tag team champ, though, was he a tag champ with Roode? I can't remember now. Oh my god, it's going to be annoying me. Hold on one second. Dolph Ziggler. Let's see if he was a tag champ with him. I think he was, though. Like, I just want to... tag champs. Yes, he was with Robert Roode. See, I knew it. So he was the world heavyweight champ 2 times, but he was never a WWE champ. But still a world champion, nonetheless. Okay. So, Dolph has become what they despise, Drew says, entitled jackass. Dolph gave him the nickname the Scottish Psychopath, but Drew says if he wants it, he gets it. Dolph has been pretty much nothing but a lackey and walks in and gets a title shot. I put that note there to myself, which is what I just said, because I just find that a little ridiculous. Nice music hits. She asks for a chair, sits in the middle of the ring, sits in the chair, and it says Charlotte got exactly what she wanted, and she was cheated out of what she deserved. Truth music hits. He was supposed to have a match against the evil ninja leader, and then he asks, is Nia the real Akira? Akira shows up behind Tom Phillips. Then the ninjas show up and Truth runs. Charlotte's music hits while Nia is still there. Nia's just can't deal with Truth. Even though I thought they were going to do a little play off of what happened in Royal Rumble 2 years ago when Nia took Truth's spot, went into the Rumble, got beat up by all the guys and got thrown out. I thought that would have been interesting to bring back. But, yeah, and then Nia complaining about what she deserved even though she's the one that pushed the referee. Nonsense. The usual, they jar at each other, the usual shtick, everything she got was because of her dad. She's beat Asuka over and over. Nia said the one time they fought, Nia dominated her, which apparently there was years ago. They fight. The refs try to break them up, but they can't. We then get NFL film style intro of the Street Profits and the Raiders. Again, we're going over it again. Backstage, we get with Street Profits. Raiders show up. They says they are different but friends, and they have their own catchphrase. When the bell rings, everything's out the window. As they walk off, Zelina Vega shows up with kind of like a devilish smile. We'll see what happens there. So we get the Raw Tag Title match. It was a good match, just shorter than I expected, especially after all the fanfare and the weeks and weeks of build-up. I do like the Bumblebee gears that Street Profits were rocking. Ivar hits a spin kick to Dawkins. Ivar throwing it into Dawkins in the corner for a 2 count. Forward with the Tope Con Hero, and Eric catches him, throws him into Dawkins. I thought that was really cool, because we've seen that spot a couple of times where Keith Lee actually catches people, but like, one, Eric is strong, but he's not as strong as Keith Lee, and the speed and the height from which Ford was coming at him was very, very impressive. Hot tag to Dawkins who cleans house. Street Profits hit the Viking Experience. Ivar breaks up the pin. Obviously, whatever you could do, I could do, that kind of thing. Eric with the hot tag. Ivar with the springboard back elbow. Cartwheel fest. Everyone keeps cartwheeling each other. Eric with the power slam combo on both Street Profits. Ivar misses the top rope splash. Ford with the springboard frog splash on Ivar for the win. They hug it out. Obviously, no hard feelings. I like that. They keep it together. They didn't, have one of them go heel or whatever. So then as Vikings leave and Street Profits are celebrating, Andrade and Garza attack them. Raiders come in to break it up. I like this match. Too short, especially, like I said, for all the build-up to it. But at the same time, okay, Andrade and Garza are on the same page. Finally, we'll see they're going after the tag titles. What I don't like is that most likely they're going to have to face Viking Raiders, maybe like for a number 1 contendership or something, and then they're going to lose Viking Raiders, and then the Viking Raiders are now going to fall back to God knows where. That's what I anticipate. I hope that doesn't happen, but maybe even get like a 3-way tag match for the titles at Extreme Rules. That would be cool. We get Seth backstage. Theory and Murphy arrive. They've been thinking. Seth shushes them. He has a message for Ray, and soon all will be revealed. They're destined for roles beyond their choices. Him and Ray didn't choose their roles. Ray hasn't embraced it like he has. Nothing Ray or Dominic can do to stop it. Legends can't die, but can outlive their welcome, Seth says. Recap of the Charlotte and Nia fight. Charlotte was favoring her left arm. Charlotte comes from the trainer's room, says she won't delay the match with Asuka. Charlie sees Garza, Andrade, Zelina, and walks over after she's talking with Flair. Asks why they attack Street Profits. Garza says you have to take what you want, like a beautiful woman. He starts getting creepy again with my girl Charlie. Ridiculous. Zelina starts calling her Two-Buck Chuck, which I find very funny. I don't know the origin or if there's some kind of pop culture reference. I just find it funny. They have a united front now, and they're going after the Raw Tag Team titles. We get the Raw Women's title match, Asuka versus Charlotte. Nia's watching backstage. Asuka goes after the injured arm. Asuka sliding kick from the apron. Charlotte pulls Asuka's legs out from under her onto the floor. Big boot. Rolls Asuka into the ring for a 2 count. Charlotte misses moonsault, but lands on her feet. So I guess that's better than what she usually does. Backbreaker flatline into the middle turnbuckle combo by Charlotte. German release by Asuka. Asuka with the armbar on the right arm and then switches to the left arm. Charlotte gets to the ropes. Charlotte with the spear. Asuka gets to the ropes to break the count. Powerbomb by Charlotte, but Asuka puts her in the Asuka lock and eventually hits the win. So Asuka finally beats Charlotte. It's bittersweet because, this was something that they've been playing up for several months now, how, Charlotte, has Asuka's number, and you wanted it to be that first win finally, clean, just singles, where there was a crowd. Obviously, they figured that wasn't going to happen. At the same time, we're getting word that Charlotte is going to be out for an extended period of time. I believe she was having elective surgery. But there's been differing reports. She could be out till Royal Rumble. She could be out, 4 months. She could be out 3 weeks. She apparently is saying only like 3 weeks. So whatever the surgery was is probably minor. Maybe she just needs to recoup and relax because, she's working so hard being on all those shows. But I don't know. Unfortunately, everybody had a different story on this one. It's not usual that you see this much disparity in wrestling journalism. Usually it's, the majority of people have the same info. Sometimes it's all coming from the same source, but this one's a little different. We get a backstage interview with Nia. It'd be a real shame to kick the queen while she's down. Recap of Orton promo. A reminder of being the legend killer. Edge promo is mad at Orton because of Christian attack. Orton woke up the Rated R superstar. Charlotte comes to Orton backstage. Edge and Christian will be fine as long as they stay away from him. We get backstage with Charlotte. Gives Asuka credit for going after the arm. Nia attacks her, goes after the arm. So that's why I think they were writing her off TV for a little bit at least, going after that. We get the 24/7 title, Truth versus Akira. Akira has the ninjas. We have to go through Truth's entrance again, so he does his whole shtick again after he did it with Nia. Before the match starts, Lashley comes out, takes out the ninjas. Akira goes under the ring because he's scared. Lashley and MVP go into the ring. Lashley puts Truth in the full Nelson until he passes out. Akira slides back in, pins him, and now Akira Tozawa is the 24/7 champion. We get Sarah Schreiber backstage looking for an update for Charlotte. Natalya comes out and blabs on and on about all the nonsense. Says Sarah messed up by not scheduling her and there's no time, so she'll make her announcement in the ring. Nobody gives a shit. We get, again, Liv Morgan versus Natalya. So ridiculous. Lana shows up and comes to the ring with Natalya. Discus clothesline by Natalya for 2 count. Liv sent outside. Ronda's Natalya onto the floor. Lana goes to distract Liv. Natalya chop blocks Liv, then puts her in the sharpshooter for the win. I could not give a single fuck about this. And apparently, according to Liv's Twitter, this match was actually cut down, and some of the stills from the match that they put on WWE's Twitter account were giving Liv some offense, which, according to the match that we watched, she got like 0 offense in, so she was not very happy about that. I keep saying it, they've just completely botched Liv Morgan, and this thing with Natalya is just, it's done. Yeah, I don't care at all. Backstage with the Big Show, just when he thought he saw everything, then there's ninjas. He does some corny joke about his right hand, plugs his Netflix show. He's here because of what happened to his friends from last week. Flair's music hits, but then Dolph and Drew, we're found out Dolph and Drew are going to go at Extreme Rules. It's made official. Flair's in the ring to present Orton as the greatest ever. Talks about Charlotte was hurt, but she'll be back. Flair puts over Orton. Orton comes out. Orton accepts the praise. Big Show's music hits. Well, it's a Big Show. That's terrible. Orton is going to pay for what he did to his friends. It calls Orton a parasite and latches on to those that make him better. Edge will be back, but won't get the satisfaction of taking him out alone. Orton says he won't hurt Rick or him because they're friends. Orton calls him a legend, and it would be a shame if he would suffer the same fate as Edge and Christian. Orton leaves, but he's focused and motivated, and guess what happens next is on talking to Big Show. So I'm assuming this is going to be some kind of match at Extreme Rules. I mean, it hasn't been made official yet, but I just assume it will be. We have the women's tag title, Sasha and Bayley versus the Iconics. Bayley pushes Sasha in to start. Billy with the Shades of K for a quick 2 count. They go for their finisher, Iconics, but Bayley trips up Peyton. Double team on Billy Kay. Casadora knee combo on Bayley, which used to be their finisher, but apparently it isn't anymore. Peyton with the Fisherman suplex. Sasha breaks up the pin. Double side suplex on Peyton for a 2 count. Sasha goes for 3 amigos. Peyton counters the last one and the roll up for a 2 count. Great transition into the bank statement on Peyton for the win. They do a post-match promo, so they retain. The only title change was the 24/7 title this week. Championship Monday, everyone. Sasha says she's been thinking about being jealous of having 2 straps like Bayley. She wants a title match, so obviously Bayley's looking a little nervous, trying to understand what's going on. Is this a rib? And then she challenges Asuka for the Raw Women's title at Extreme Rules. Asuka comes out, says, "You're not the boss of me, I accept." They attack Asuka, backstab her into the bank statement. They dance and mock Asuka with her title. What the fuck? Sasha, you don't go here, to quote Bianca Belair. You were on Smackdown. That's how bad this women's division is that they can't even find a suitable contender for Asuka's Raw Women's title, that they have to then give it to Sasha. So ridiculous. Like, we get it. You're building to something between Sasha and Bayley where it's going to blow up. You can find things for them, and you can still keep the Raw division together, too. So frustrating. Backstage with MVP and Lashley. He's going to make a statement hurting Truth. MVP says Lashley's free of distraction now. It would work for Apollo too if he let MVP help him. Ref didn't see last week, and if he makes the wrong choice, that's going to be on him. Talking about him joining. What was I going to say here? So obviously, it looks like that Lana and Lashley. I think this is actually pretty much done with them in this storyline. I don't think they're gonna. Maybe they'll just abandon it altogether because recently on Lana's Instagram, she was doing the white video, white, and it just changes or you change or whatever. We finally got Rusev back. So Rusev has not been on Lana's Instagram for the longest time, obviously to keep things kayfabe. So he's back. So I assume that's that means that Lashley is kaputs. Backstage with Liv, Ruby confronts her. Nothing is going her way and doesn't need Ruby making her feel worse about it. Ruby looks like she kind of feels bad about this. Are they going back to this again? I mean, they pushed so hard for Liv to be independent, and she was under this influence and all this yada 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 about how bad it was being in the Riot Squad. And because they have nothing for her or Ruby, they're going to bring them back. And then you add on top of that they released Sarah Logan, and she apparently is retiring. As far as I know, she put out a post on social media saying that she's stepping away from wrestling right now. I don't know if it's because she's just been unhappy with the way things turned out. I know obviously her husband Eric, part of the Viking Raiders, is still there. So, I don't know. VIP Lounge. Apollo is his guest. Feels right having him in there. MVP has respect for him until he blew out his knee before Money in the Bank. He's made the mistake, so Apollo doesn't have to make them. It brings up Apollo's daughter. He got there this far without MVP, without MVP's help, and he declines again. If he wasn't dropping gems, Apollo wouldn't be out here listening, according to MVP. Dealing with people like MVP his whole life, Apollo says. Tried doing it for 341 days. That's what MVP says. There won't be a third ask. Apparently, is the longest reigning U.S. champ at 341 days. Shelton's music hits. MVP distracts him so Shelton can attack. He gets his shoulder rammed into the post. And then, what's his name? MVP says, never leave yourself in a 2-on-1. Got to protect your blind side. He goes, that gem was free. Next one will cost you. So then we get our U.S. title match, Apollo versus Shelton. Shelton with a huge kick to the face for a 2 count. Attacks the left shoulder that was injured earlier. Standing moonsault countered into an armbar by Shelton. Clothesline by Apollo sends both to the outside. Apollo sends Shelton into the post. Then hits the toss powerbomb for the win. MVP comes out of the ramp and claps. Lashley comes out and puts him in the full Nelson. So I don't know now. Are they changing it where Lashley's now downgraded to the mid-card title? Not that there's anything wrong with the U.S. title, not that there's anything wrong with Apollo Crews. It just seems like a step down for Lashley, who was literally just feuding with the world champion, loses, and then goes down to the mid-card. I don't understand it, but we'll see. So you get a shot of Ray and Dominic backstage. Dominic asks him if he's sure, and Ray says, let's go, show him how the family rolls. One of the scariest things as a parent, Ray says, is not being able to get in touch with your child. That was last week. He got out of a 3-1, so he's proud, but he's also angry. He accepts what Seth did. Even though Dominic is bigger, he'll always be his boy, baby boy. Now it's time for Ray to fight for him. I guess again, because let's face it, the custody of Dominic, isn't the first time he's fought for his son. He needs to get revenge, but but on his own. Dominic understands, but he's not going anywhere. That is what family is, and this is a family that wants to fight. He actually does this while he's looking into the camera. I like this. Dominic had some good stage presence, with conviction. Obviously, he still needs to work on his acting, but I mean, overall, I've really enjoyed what he's been doing. Seth comes out. Seth says, what does he do? It isn't up to him. It's fate. He walks down the ramp, drops to his knees. Theory and Murphy come out. And then all of a sudden, Carrillo and Black come out and attack. Carrillo with the twisting tope con hero on Theory and Murphy. Ray hits a 619 on the outside, like through the inside of the ropes to the outside, kicks Seth in the face. They try to put Seth into the steps, like he did to Ray. But Theory and Murphy make the save. Seth is about to push Dominic's eye into the steps, but Carrillo and Black get chairs and chase them off. So obviously they all stand tall. The faces stand tall at the end of Raw. And that is Raw for this week. We now go to NXT. So before the show starts, we get Grimes attacks Priest in the parking lot by his car. And then Priest is selling his back injury, even though Grimes is, we don't see the actual attack, so it's, left up to the interpretation, but sorry. We then get Cameron Grimes versus Damian Priest. Grimes gets on the mic, he says that Priest slashed his own tires and pretends that he's hurt. Damian comes from the back. All the refs and the medical are trying to stop him. Grimes attacks him right away. Priest mounts some offense, but he's selling his back and ribs the whole time. Priest with the sit-down choke slam. He misses a Razor's Edge on the outside. Grimes hits the cave-in on the outside. Priest just makes it into the ring before the count. Hits another cave-in and then loses. So I'm just trying to get this straight. So we had Damian Priest, who was a heel, and he was losing. He'd get into these feuds and he'd lose. Okay. I'm really tired today. Yeah. So then he has a great match against Finn Balor. He's now kind of pushing toward being a face because of that, and they start him off with the back injuries and a loss. Okay. We get earlier today with Rhea. She agrees that that this is currently EO's NXT based on what happened. Robert Stone confronts her, playing hard to get. Aaliyah signed with her. Normally, he doesn't give second chances, but Rhea loses her. But then Rhea grabs him and tosses him in a dumpster. Aaliyah confronts her, says, "You can't throw my manager in the trash, even though you're 2020, your career is trash now." So she slaps Rhea. Rhea no-sells it and says that she just got to take it to a match tonight. So we get more of Thatcher training. Shows how to do a half crab, shows how to do the Kimura lock, lines them up, learns some stuff, had some fun, now clean everything up. We get a recap of the Escobar Drake altercation from last week. Legado del Fantasma, the group. We get Santos Escobar versus Jake Atlas. Atlas showing aggression and frustration, has advantage early on. Step up Rana by Atlas. Goes to kick Mendoza and Wild on the outside and gets sent into the plexiglass. Abdominal stretch on the ground for by Escobar. Standing moonsault by Atlas for a 2 count. Atlas then takes Mendoza and Wild out with a moonsault to the outside. Atlas crotch on the top rope. Escobar is able to hit the Phantom Driver for the win. And I need to take a quick stop. Hold on. Super unprofessional, but I've got to grab a drink. So I am back. Oh, let's get the lighting. There we go. Whew. Need some, energy. Oh my God, so good. So we get earlier today. More Undisputed Therapy. They recount Strong running from the trunk. Strong has been focusing all week and thinks he can do it now. Strong finally realizes the doc is Kyle, which I think is hysterical. Outside, Kyle talks about researching a role for a movie, super secret agent, psychotherapist thing, and that's why he was doing the research there. He's hysterical. miss Kyle O'Reilly on TV right now, but obviously he's a diabetic, and also has I guess that affects his immune system, and he's taking precautions to stay away. So Strong is able to get in the trunk. They all cheer. He's saying that he's ready, and they say, "Okay, great, you're ready for your match with Loomis tonight. You're going to take him out." And you can see Strong no longer has the same confidence that he did a few seconds earlier. We get a recap of tag title match from last week. Backstage interview with Bivens, and Indus Sher says he's pissed to the highest level of festivity. So he's basically just being Malcolm Bivens. So he says Orkin and Birch attacked them when they were just trying to watch the match, and because he's a gentleman, he held his guys back. He lets them talk. They speak in their native language. I believe it's Hindi. We get Adam Cole triple threat video package. Pretty cool. We then get Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Caden's music doesn't fit her style. It just sounds weird. It's just weird. I don't like it. Raquel Gonzalez comes out. I love that they're calling her Big Mommy Cool. That's pretty cool. I don't know if she's a mom or not. Actually, you know what? Let's see. Raquel Gonzalez, wrestler. Professional. They don't really have much for her here. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. No, doesn't say anything. But either way, still pretty cool that they were calling her Big Mommy Cool. I like that. Casey with the chop block on Raquel to start. Double drop toe hold into the middle rope by Caden and Casey. Double team moves on Dakota Kai. Dakota and Raquel are doing quick tags to take control of Casey. She finally gets the hot tag to Caden. Casadora rolled through into a super kick for a 2 count by Caden. Raquel catches Casey in midair coming from the top rope, then kicks Caden in the face, then does a 1-arm powerbomb. Dakota comes in with the submission for the win. Dakota calls out Io, says that that title is going to be hers. We get a backstage look at Bronson Reed. Then we get a backstage look at Keith Lee for his match. We then get Bronson Reed versus Karrion Kross. Bronson starts with a flurry of offense on Karrion Kross, and it looks like it's starting to, he's starting to make a little dent in Karrion Kross, but it only lasts a few shots before Kross turns it around, hits an exploder suplex. Bronson with some more offense, German release, but it's absolutely no sold by Kross. He just gets up and screams and says, So they're trading shots. Kross hits a Northern Lights suplex, and then he hits his Saito side suplex into the cross jacket for the win. Kross creepily stares at the ref, who backs off when they try to raise his hand. Backstage interview with Adam Cole. He says, who would you prefer to face? The common man would choose someone who's the weakest or has he would have some kind of advantage over, but he's not the common man, so he says whoever, he doesn't care. Then he says it's a stupid question and walks off. He's the best. We get another vignette of Mercedes Martinez. We get Rhea Ripley versus Aaliyah. Robert Stone looks like less hobo this week, I guess, now that he's got Aaliyah signed. Rhea just tossing Aaliyah around. Aaliyah just keeps getting toyed with. Knees to the face. Basement drop kick for a 2 count on Aaliyah. Rhea puts her in the reverse cloverleaf. While that's going on, Stone picks up his shoe and throws it at her. Hugh throws his shoe, honestly. Austin Powers. Rhea gives chase. Eventually gets back into the ring. Aaliyah tries to get an advantage, but doesn't work. Rhea then hits the Riptide for the win. I just find it funny that Chelsea has left Robert Stone. They made a big deal of it, even though they never showed it actually on camera. They only showed it on YouTube or Twitter, which I thought was ridiculous. But so Chelsea is left, and yet Robert Stone is on every week, and Chelsea has not been seen since. So, riddle me that. Riddle me that, WWE Creative. That makes a total sense. And if it's because right now I haven't heard that she's decided to stay home because of sickness. So, as far as I know, they just don't have anything for her, which is completely ridiculous. We get a backstage look at Johnny Gargano, Roderick Strong versus Dexter Lumis. Let's see what we're at here. Gotcha. Fish out with Strong. Strong is trying to psych himself up for it. Lumis barely moves. Strong tries to run and runs into the plexiglass. He tries to jump over the barricade, runs right into the plexiglass. It was pretty funny. And then he heads to the back and he gets counted out for the win. Fish is screaming for him to come back. Lumis gets him in the Anaconda Vice, but he eventually gets away. We then get Stone and Aaliyah. Whoop, let's knock everything down. We get Stone and Aaliyah talking to an iPad, talking to Regal. It says that they want a rematch, so Regal gives them a 2-on-1 against Rhea. Stone says, I don't want to fight, but, since he gets told that he has to, says he wants a stipulation that Rhea will join Robert Stone brand if they win. And Regal's like, I can't make that decision. But Rhea shows up out of nowhere and says she's good with it. So if they make this stipulation and then Rhea wins, that's just dumb. Rhea needs to lose this. Robert Stone needs to get the pin to make it even funnier, first off. Then you have kind of like when Cena joined the Nexus or something like that. I think that would work because I think that would be interesting for Rhea's character. Joins Robert Stone brand, doesn't want to be like a chicken shit heel or something, but slowly starts to work. And then you can obviously give Aaliyah a rub a little bit. I think that would be fine. They could make a tag team. Aaliyah's not a bad talent. She just they don't have anything for her and never use her. Oh my god, hopefully that keeps me up. So we get a recap of Io winning the championship, Regal narrating a fatal 4-way for the number one contender next week of Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, Mia Yim, and Candice. So Rhea's not even in that. So I guess because of what's going on. So interesting. Strong versus Lumis is now going to be the first ever strap match next week. So we're going to get that, which is interesting. We then get our main event. Excuse me. Triple threat for the North American title, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor against the champion Keith Lee. Gargano is trying to surprise Lee, but can't roll him up. Lee manhandling both of them. Finn and Gargano taking turns with sleeper holds. Lee back body drops both. Lee goes for a pounce on Gargano, but catches a sling blade. Gargano with the rolling senton. Both send Lee into the steps. Commercial for Great American Bash on NXT next week, so we find out that there's going to be the Great American Bash, and not only that, it's going to be 2 weeks. Interesting. I mean, it's just so ridiculous the way they do things. Okay. Gargano super kick on the apron to Lee, a slingshot spear to Finn for a 2 count. Finn with the tope con hero on Lee. Final cut on Gargano for a 2 count. Sling blade on Gargano. Lee comes into frame as Finn is in the corner. I mean, it's a cool image, but it's just now they're just overusing it with Keith Lee especially and Finn Balor. It's like, we get it. Double stomp on Lee. Electric chair into sleeper by Finn on Lee. Super kick by Gargano hits both. Where am I? Okay. One final beat on Finn, but Lee breaks the count. Gargano has a guillotine and hits swinging DDT. Tope Suicida onto Lee. Finn goes for a 1960 on Gargano on the outside and gets pounced by Lee. Spirit bomb countered into a cave-in. Super kicks to both. Shotgun drop kick to Gargano into Lee, who lands on Gargano. Big Bang catastrophe on Gargano. He starts to roll away in pain. Finn breaks the count with a coup de grace. Big Bang catastrophe on Finn then for the win. So Cole comes out to the ring for the standoff, and they're both kind of looking at each other, jarring at each other, and also holding up their titles. It was a pretty cool shot because you could see the graphic of them against each other in the Tron behind them, and they're obviously on the same side, so it was pretty cool. I liked it. Nice way to end that show. Okay, and then finally, Smackdown. So we get a video package of The Undertaker. The majority of the Smackdown roster are out on the ramp chanting "Thank you, Taker." Taker's first appearance, SummerSlam '90, we get a look at. Then we get Cena and Reigns talking about The Undertaker. We then get the Boneyard match. They take a couple commercial breaks during one, and they come back. We got Edge and Bret Hart talking about The Undertaker. I was wondering if they could... I was actually wondering if they were going to cut out Gallows and Anderson from the Boneyard match, but they were... they didn't cut anything out. Now, I don't know if that's contractually obligated to do or whatnot. We'll see. Then we get Kane and Flair talking about them. As it ends, we get Baron Corbin. It's just so annoying. Baron Corbin, he's talking down The Undertaker, brings up the Kiss My Ass Club, says Taker was a founding member, which he was not. Just saying that, he's been coddled and protected by the owner. And I'm just like, dude, that's how you got through pretty much everything. You were just like their boy, and they just bossed you around. You do whatever they said. He says that the Undertaker's selfish, SOB, for holding talent like him down, which I don't know if he held them down per se, but I do think he took opportunities away by coming back as much as he did and not being a full-time presence. He doesn't thank you. Undertaker uses Taker's shoot name, says you suck. Jeff Hardy comes in, attacks him. We get Austin Angle talking about the Taker. Backstage interview with Hardy, puts over Taker, said 4 times on Mount Rushmore will just all be Taker, which I think is funny. Challenges Corbin, says he has a degree from Dead Man University. I don't know what that is or if it's a fake university or not. We've had our fair share of those. Bayley and Sasha come to commentary. Corey jokes that they must want to speak to the manager, kind of like them being a Karen, which I think is funny. Fatal 4-way for the number 1 contender for the SmackDown Women's title. We get Alexa, Cross, Dana, and Lacey. So obviously Naomi and what's her name? Shite. Tamina. There we go. So Tamina is not in it, Naomi's not in it, even though they were some of the ones backstage. Carmella, I'm assuming Carmella has COVID, the virus. I know that YouTube is not happy when people use that term. So I know that I'm pretty sure she has it because she hasn't been on television in the longest time. So I don't know if that's self-imposed or not. So Lacey bends over, throws her skirt in front of Bayley and Sasha, and they're screaming out "ew" and trying to hand sanitize themselves, even though she was not that close. So it's just kind of funny. What do we got here? Lacey, Dana go after Bliss and Cross. Bliss and Cross hug, and Cross tries to pin. She says she loves her, but this is for the title. Obviously, the hug, I think, is a little ridiculous because we know that's best friend's gimmick, so I don't think it's necessary, but hey, it is what it is. We then get Bliss and Cross. Dana and Lacey double team on Cross. Double Bronco Buster by Lacey on Bliss and Cross. Dana with the Swanton on Lacey, but Cross breaks up the pin. And then Alexa gets knocked out of the ring. Lacey with the women's right to Dana from while she was jumping in midair. And then Cross with the roll-up deep on Lacey for the win. So basically does the kind of roll-up and then leans her entire body down on the leg so that she can't kick out. So they cheer together and they go after, they start jawing at Becky and Sasha. So we'll see what happens there. We get Triple H and HBK talking Taker. Some of this I think was from the last ride. Maybe didn't make the episode itself, but that was just my thinking. New Day and Lucha House Party versus Miz, Morrison, Nakamura, and Cesaro. A lot of names. So let's see here. Backstage, we see Lindsay with a sombrero. Guys, come on. We can do better than that. Big E log rolls down the ramp, which I thought was funny. With the splash on the apron to Miz. He launches Lindsay into Miz for a 2 count. Shinsuke avoids Trouble in Paradise. Shinsuke with the tag to Morrison. Shinsuke attacks Kofi on the outside. Shinsuke attacks... avoids... Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Shinsuke attacks Kofi on the outside. Kofi with the cave-in on Shinsuke. Hot tag to Metalik. Sunset Powerbomb by Metalik on AJ. Lindsay with the tope Rana. Let's see. Yes. It's a top rope. I had this one word. Lindsay with the top rope Rana on Morrison onto the floor. Metalik walks the ropes and then lands an elbow on the Miz for the win. Kind of like a springboard elbow drop. We get backstage interview with Corbin. Brings up Hardy's missteps. Hardy... Okay, so Hardy should retire and rest in peace. Kind of mocks that name. Clever dude. Clever. We see Braun coming to the ring with cutouts of the old and new Bray. Braun comes to the ring. Yeah, he recounts the first time he met Bray. He was afraid. Braun's like panting and sweating. Apparently got bit in the face over and over by a snake. I think this was just weird. But oh yeah, it's something that he bit him in the face and that Bray laughed. Braun was scared. This was pretty bad though. Overall, it was just weird. He started doing the devil's work and he liked it after he joined. He's done everything possible to lock that part away, but it calls out to him. Braun suggests that Bray to go back to the swamp. Either he's coming out of whatever match they have as the most evil son of a bitch, or he gets satisfaction of destroying him, Bray, and letting the alligators take him, take what's left of him. One more time, let's go home. And then Braun laughs, and then they have the other laugh track going on. Bray's laugh at the same time. I'm losing a little bit of speed here. I'm for some reason I'm tired, and I feel like I'm like a half step slow. So just in case you notice that, that's why. We get Batista and Foley both talking Taker. We then get Hardy versus Corbin. In our main event, Corbin starts quick, fight to the outside. Hardy misses Whisper in the Wind. Hardy gets posted. Corbin mocking Taker's pose, going up for the urn. Faces come out from the commercial break, which makes no sense. It doesn't say like they were there for some reason. Maybe just because they just didn't like the way that Corbin was talking about Taker. They wanted to make sure he got his comeuppance. So the face coming out after the bank. Deep 6 for a 2 count, and then eventually, what's his name? Corbin gets sent into the steps, thrown into the ring, and Jeff Hardy hits a swanton for the win. Corbin with the post-match attack, which I was like, why is everyone standing and watching? I just thought that was really stupid. Eventually, Kofi, he takes out Kofi like really quick, which I think is like just so stupid. Then Big E hits the big ending. They ask Braun to come in. He comes in, power slam. They ask Riddle to come in. He obliges, does his floating bro, and they all celebrate. And Jeff Hardy does his, impression of the Undertaker, where a picture of the Undertaker shows up on the Tron, which I thought was really weird. But that's it. So that is everything from WWE this week. Actually, hold on one second. So yeah, it was okay programming. Apparently, it what do you call it? It won the rating war this week for the first time in a while, and won significantly, more so than everyone expected if it was to win. But as always, the big thing was the big 18 to 49 demographic, which advertisers love. So AEW just won there. They were down a little bit even in that one. We'll see how Fyter Fest picks it up, even though now WWE is kind of trying to counter program by doing Bash at the Beach. So. So anyway, I do my match of the week. So I'm going to go with the triple threat for the North American title of Gargano, Balor, and Lee. These guys all are tremendous workers. Obviously, Gargano and Balor were not victorious. Lee is going to be the one to face Adam Cole. I still think Karrion Kross is going to come in there, mess up that match, and then Lee and Kross will have some kind of thing going on, as like kind of like a placeholder, and then we'll have some kind of placeholder against Cole. I don't know who. Obviously, there are rumors that the Velveteen Dream is going to be done with WWE based on a number of allegations and stuff, backstage stuff that has been going on. As always, like I said, that's just rumor, speculation, but enough people have said it that, seems plausible, especially that he wasn't on TV this week either. But anyway, back to the North American title match. I thought it was a really fantastic match. Lee is just going to be a star. Gargano and Balor just make everyone they wrestle better. If it's just a singles match, and then collectively, it's just fantastic. That is everything that happened in WWE this week on the program. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media down there. Obviously, there are a lot more things coming out between the Speaking Out and the wrestlers that are being accused, and WWE's actions taken. Obviously, they let go of some of their NXT UK talent. I don't really watch NXT UK, nor do I think a lot of people do, so I'm not going to get into it. I just know that so far, Jack Gallagher, who is on 205 and UK, Travis Banks, and Ligero, all three have been let go from the company. And then obviously there are things out there like the stuff against Matt Riddle, Velveteen Dream, all that kind of stuff. I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to opine. I'm not going to attempt to talk about it yet because I just don't know. So that's everything. I've lost steam, so I'm going to end it here. As always, like I said a couple seconds ago, like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. And be safe, love each other, and bye now. Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Kronos. The Dead Man wants to thank you for your fandom and the chance. That's all I got. Taker out.